Have you ever wondered why some people seem to get richer and richer, while others work their whole lives just to get by? What if I told you the secret isn't about how much you earn, but how you think about money? Today, we're rediving into one of the most influential personal finance books ever written, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. This book tells the powerful story of a young boy with two fathers, each with a completely different philosophy on wealth, work, and life. And trust me, the lessons from this story could completely change the way you see your own finances. The story revolves around the author, Robert Kiyosaki, who grows up with his biological father, the poor dad, and his best friend's father, the rich dad. Now, let's be clear. The poor dad wasn't actually poor in the traditional sense. He was a highly educated man, a top government official with a PhD. He had a stable, secure job and a good salary. He believed in the classic formula for success. Go to school, get good grades, find a safe job with benefits, and climb the corporate ladder. He'd say things like, "Our home is our biggest investment, and the love of money is the root of all evil." His world was all about job security and avoiding risk. Then there was the rich dad. He was an entrepreneur who hadn't even finished the 8th grade. But what he lacked in formal education, he more than made up for in financial intelligence. He taught the boys a completely different set of rules. He'd say, "The lack of money is the root of all evil, and my home is a liability, not an asset." He believed that the school system was designed to create good employees, not wealthy individuals. His lessons weren't found in a classroom. They were learned in the real world, through experience, observation, and action. One of the first and most profound lessons Rich Dad teaches is to stop working for money and start making money work for you. He explains that most people are trapped in what he calls the rat race. Think about it. You get a job to earn a salary. You get a raise, so you upgrade your lifestyle, a bigger house, a nicer car. But with that comes bigger bills, a larger mortgage, and more debt. Your expenses rise just as fast, if not faster than your income. You're running faster and faster on a hamster wheel, but you're not actually getting anywhere. You're working for everyone else. The government through taxes, the bank through your mortgage, and the credit card companies through interest. You're driven by two powerful emotions: fear and greed. Fear of not being able to pay your bills keeps you in your job, and the desire for nicer things keeps you spending. Rich Dad's lesson was simple but revolutionary. The rich don't work for money. They acquire assets that generate money for them. This brings us to the core concept of the book, understanding the difference between an asset and a liability. This might sound simple, but the way Rich Dad defines it is, an asset is anything that puts money in your pocket. A liability is anything that takes money out of your pocket. That's Italiano. It's not about accounting jargon or complex formulas. It's about cash flow. So, let's look at the classic example. Your house. Poor dad, like most people, believed his house was his greatest asset. But Rich Dad saw it differently. A house comes with a mortgage, property taxes, insurance, maintenance, and utility bills. Every single month, it takes money out of your pocket. Therefore, according to Rich Dad, your primary residence is a liability, not an asset. Now, this doesn't mean you shouldn't own a home, but it does mean you shouldn't confuse it with an income-generating investment. An asset, on the other hand, could be a rental property that brings in monthly rent checks, stocks that pay dividends. So, how do you start building this asset column? This is where financial education comes in, or what Rich Dad calls your financial IQ. He argued that our school system teaches us everything except how to manage our money. We learn professional skills to become doctors, lawyers, or mechanics. But we don't learn how money works. We don't learn about investing, taxes, or debt. As a result, even highly educated people can be financially illiterate. They might earn a huge salary, but if they don't know how to keep it, invest it, and make it grow, they can still end up struggling. Rich Dad stressed the importance of lifelong learning about finance. He encouraged the boys to learn about accounting, investing, markets, and the law. He wasn't talking about becoming an expert in all these fields, but about understanding them well enough to make smart decisions and ask the right questions. Another crucial lesson is about mindset, specifically how you approach fear and risk. Poor Dad was terrified of losing money. His fear kept him in a safe job and prevented him from ever taking a financial risk. He played not to lose. Rich Dad, however, saw failure differently. He played to win. He knew that risk was part of the game and that every successful investor has lost money at some point. He taught the boys that failure isn't the opposite of success. It's a stepping stone to success. The key isn't to avoid risk, but to learn how to manage it. You do that through knowledge and experience. The more you know, the less risky an investment becomes. He would say, the main reason people lose money is because they're replaying a game they don't understand. This leads to another brilliant piece of advice. Work to learn. Don't work for money, especially when you're young. Rich Dad advised picking jobs based on what you can learn, not what you can earn. He encouraged developing critical skills that aren't taught in school, like sales, communication, marketing, negotiation, and leadership. A high-paying job might seem great in the short term, but if it doesn't teach you valuable skills, it can be a long-term trap. Learning how to sell, for example, is a fundamental skill for any entrepreneur. Learning how to manage people and systems is essential for building a business. These are the skills that will allow you to build and grow your own assets, rather than just being an asset for someone else's company. Throughout the book, Kiyosaki contrasts the life paths of his two dads. Poor Dad worked hard his entire life, followed all the conventional rules, but constantly struggled with money worries and died with bills left to pay. Rich Dad, on the other hand, took calculated risks, focused on building his asset column, and ultimately became one of the wealthiest men in Hawaii. He built a financial empire that continued to grow, giving him both wealth and freedom. The story isn't a judgment on either man. It's a powerful illustration of how two different mindsets can lead to dramatically different financial outcomes. It shows that your financial destiny isn't determined by your education level or your salary, but by your financial habits and your way of thinking. So, what are the key takeaways from Rich Dad, Poor Dad? First, understand the rat race and make a conscious decision to get out of it. Second, know the difference between an asset and a liability and focus your life on acquiring assets. Third, commit to your financial education. Read books, attend seminars, and learn from those who are already successful. Fourth, learn to manage fear and risk instead of avoiding it. And finally, work to learn skills that will make you a better investor and business owner. Rich Dad, Poor Dad is not a step-by-step how-to guide. It won't tell you exactly what stocks to buy or what real estate to invest in. What it does, and does brilliantly, is shift your perspective. It challenges the traditional advice we've all been given about money and opens our minds to a different path toward financial freedom. It teaches you to think like the rich, not just work like the poor or middle class. The journey starts not with your wallet, but with your mind. It's about changing your mindset, educating yourself, and then taking action. Thanks for watching today. If this video sparked a new idea or changed your perspective on money, hit that like button and subscribe for more content that can help you build a better financial future. Let me know in the comments which lesson from Rich Dad, Poor Dad resonates with you the most. See you in the next one.